Digimon, digital monster. Oh, jeez. Sorry, guys. I've been busy moving my stuff. I've got this random picture of this Mexican child. I have no idea what the hell's going on. But let's go ahead and get on topic. Today, we're going to be looking at the live-action Fist of North Star movie. Let's go ahead and roll that opening.
いつしか生きるために置き去りにした幸せ偽ることで使って踊ってたただの幻に瞳閉じた視界の果てで君の笑顔を探してた揺れている面影に僕らは夢抱きかけ抜けてくそういつの日か胸にしまってたこの想いもう一度握りしめて今
One anime series that is the embodiment of all things ultra manly in anime. If you said anything other than Fist of the North Star, you're an idiot. Fist of the North Star, in a word, is awesome. It stars Kenshiro, a master of the ancient martial arts known as Hako Shinken, aka the Fist of the North Star. Kenshiro travels across the post-apocalyptic landscape, protecting helpless villagers from all sorts of villains. This series is an instant classic from the 80s, and it is amazingly good. Kenshiro easily ranks up there with all the heavy hitters of everything badass. Also, he is the coolest thing to ever come out of Shonen Jump. Yeah, screw your orange ninjas and Mr. Fantastic pirates. I'll be sticking with the guy who will make your head explode with the touch of his fingers. So it comes to no surprise that there is a live-action movie based around this series. Now, believe it or not, I do research for the show and the reviews that I do. And while normally I wouldn't talk about the kind of things that I come across, this time around, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about one or two things. First off, this movie never reached American theaters. I know, it blows the mind, doesn't it? But this movie wasn't a direct-to-video release either. No, believe it or not, this movie was released theatrically in Japan on April 22nd, 1995. Although what makes this insanely confusing is the fact that this is an all-American film crew. Hell, the movie was even shot in Los Angeles, California. Tony Randall is credited as both the director and writer for this movie, and his other major claims to fame include directing Hellraiser 2, 21 episodes from the insanely awesome television series Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction, and even the Power Rangers in Space 2-parter Dark Spectre's Revenge. The guy's been all over the freaking map. Anyway, this movie was filmed in the same style as an American movie, but for some reason only saw the big screen in Japan. I can only imagine that the movie bombed horribly, and there was only enough money for this movie to get nothing more than a television premiere in America. Although, the only reason I would think that anyone in Japan actually saw this movie in theaters would be the fact that the English actors' voices were dubbed over by the same Japanese voice actors from the original anime, which I have to admit is pretty awesome. So will this movie make your head explode with awesomeness? Or is it already dead? Let's go ahead and find out. Although I've got to say, this movie is looking pretty promising from the back of the box, because look, it's rated R for, and I quote, continuous brutal and gory violence. I love how that is on there, because it's like the MPAA's way of telling anime fans that yes, heads will explode in this movie, and yes, it will be awesome. Great, an opening credit sequence. Let's see if we can recognize any of these actors. Nope, nada. Downtown Julie Brown? Wow, either somebody was trying to become a rapper, or their parents just hated this kid. Okay, what's so damn funny? Oh, CJ, it's staring at you right in the face. I only see that Malcolm McDowell is going to be in this movie. What's so funny about that? Oh, come on, think about it. Nothing's coming to mind. Oh, you should know this one, CJ. Malcolm McDowell is in a movie with the word fist in the title. Oh. Ew. Anyhow, this seriously goes on for about 2.5 minutes. It doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it's a lot longer than it should be. Whoa, wait! There's still time? Well, it's nice to know that the movie opens up with a reminder that it's not too late to change the channel. So the movie begins by telling us that after the world has gone into chaos, a group called Southern Cross has claimed dominance over the land and ruled the world with an iron fist. The only force standing in their way is our lone hero, Kenshiro. Although I've got to say the scars on his chest look more like somebody had stuck dried up bubblegum on his chest and used a spray-on tan for the rest of his body. We learn from a flashback that the narrator is Kenshiro's father, Ryukin. He is confronted by Shin, who is the leader of Southern Cross. Warning, the following scene will piss off every single Fist of the North Star fan. If you go into an otaku rage easily, I suggest looking away and covering your ears.
And the teachings say North Star and Southern Cross must never fight.
This is not a fight. It's an execution.
Oh, good lord, we're only 5 minutes into this movie. First off, Ryukin was not killed by Shin in the manga. It was Ryo, the series' major villain, that killed him. 2. Why in the hell is Shin using a gun? Not once in this series does any sort of main fighter use a gun. Say what you will about guns, but in Fist of the North Star, you die by the fist, and you kill by the fist. Not hide behind a gun. 3. Why in the hell didn't Ryukin dodge or deflect the bullet using his Haigo Shuken? They do it countless times in the anime. Why didn't Ryukin do it here? Okay, later in the movie there's this whole spiel with destiny and all that crap, but why use a gun to take him out? You still could have killed Ryukin in another way. While this would have still pissed off some people that it was Shin that killed him, at least he would have died in a believable way. Yeah, sit back guys, this is going to be a long movie. After that bit of soul-crushing, we meet some of our supporting characters who live in the poorly named Paradise City. We have Bat, who's played by Dante Basco. You might know him as Prince Zuko from the Avatar TV series, but I know him as the annoying snot Rufio from Hook.
Okay, now you try.
Bug off, kid.
No, really, just anyone can do it. That's good. That's better.
He gets worse. You've also got Lynn, who's Brat's adopted by Nobody's sister, and her character trait is to be blind and to be the little girl in danger. Oh, and on a side note, Lynn was deaf, not blind, you idiots! We've also got Charlie, who's the leader of the resistance team against Southern Cross, and Asher, who is the leader of Paradise City. But all is not well in Paradise City, as members of Southern Cross, called Crossmen, come to town daily and screw with their lives.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I almost hurt myself.
I like the scenes where Bats getting beaten to a pulp. After the attack, acid rain falls on Paradise City, and everyone panics to cover the water. I know Shin using a gun is absolutely horrible, but adding a scene like this really makes me feel like the guy who wrote this screenplay at least knew the source material well enough to recreate the atmosphere of the show. It's funny how this movie gets the little things right, but not the big ones. We cut to the wasteland where we find Kenshiro taking some time to stop some villagers who are being attacked by muggers.
What are you trying to do, tickle me to death?
For every every good step that this movie takes, it takes about 10 steps backwards. Seriously, this move is one of the highlights of the show.
There's no music, no what or anything like that. It's lame. But please, don't let me down on the gore. Please give me the continuous, brutal, and gory violence that was promised on the back of the box.
Don't turn your back on me!
You're already dead.
It's off screen? Bullshit! Alright. The back of the box did say that the violence would be continuous in this movie. So, hopefully there'll be more heads exploding later on down the line. You know what? Let's go ahead and put a counter on the bottom of the screen. Right there, yeah.
Okay, so after yet another major disappointment, we go over to Shin's palace, where he is met by a man who is simply listed in the credits as Man at Palace. I'm not kidding, this guy doesn't even have a name, and yet he looks more like Shin from the anime than the guy they actually got. Wait a second, I know that guy from somewhere.
Wow, until this moment, his long hair and back completely distracted me from the fact that he's balding in front.
Yeah.
Yikes. No wonder they didn't let him have the leading antagonist role.
Anyway, the two enter into a fight. Man at Palace is killed by Shin, and the scene is completely pointless other than the fact to show off that this movie rivals the special effects that were used in The Last Dragon. After the pointless slaughtering of Man at Palace, we find that Kenshiro has taken shelter from the acid rain inside of Bat and Lim's home. They wonder why the hell he's in there, when Kenshiro notices that there's something odd about Lin.
What are you doing?
Something my father taught me.
Well, Kenshiro has just made a blind girl see. It's official. Kenshiro is Jesus.
After performing his great miracle, Kenshiro leaves the kids alone. The next day, we see that Charlie and Asher say that they are not going to give in to Shin's demands, and that they are going to prepare to fight. Afterwards, we see, well, this.
We are in a war. We're soldiers. All right? Let's look like soldiers. Why? Because we are bad fighters.
Yeah, you're bad fighters, alright. But you should really be asking yourself, are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president?
We then cut to Kenshiro, who's hanging out in the wasteland, when he runs into a zombie version of his father. Yeah, this scene is really weird, and I'm not going to dwell on it for too long, other than the fact of this shot right here. You can actually see the actor's arm underneath the leather costume. Classy. Afterwards, Kenshiro decides to work off the bad mushroom trip by having a montage. Who interrupts my montage?
Really good. But I could have taken him. I was just warming up.
Yeah, I doubt that. Bat says that Lin sent him off to find Kenshiro, when Kenshiro notices a picture of his girlfriend Julia on the back of one of the goons. Why the hell a photo of her is even there is a complete and total mystery to me, but Kenshiro says that he has business in the south, and Bat follows until he passes out. Kenshiro stays with the stupid kid until he hears Lin screaming for help, as Paradise City is being attacked by the Crossmen. Their leader, Jackal, takes Charlie, Asher, and some other random guy. I wonder which one of these guys is going to die.
I accept reality. We can work together to assure a brighter future for both peoples.
Kill that brown-nosing sack of shit before I puke all over myself.
Gotcha.
Has diplomacy ever worked in Fist of the North Star?
Welcome to the future.
Yeah, that's something else that's really weird about this movie. There are moments where the characters break the fourth wall and look at the camera. It's kind of distracting and they don't really have anything meaningful to say. While Jackal and the others start to beat up an old lady, Lin steps in and tells the bad man to leave her alone, which gives her a one-way ticket to the guillotine. While the blade is coming down to make an adjustment to her height, Lin says Kenshiro is coming back to save them. This threat is enough to scare Jackal, and he stops the machine and sends a messenger to tell Shin that Kenshiro is coming. Lin is able to warm the hearts of the other Crossmen for her acts of courage. Meanwhile, Kenshiro's girlfriend Julia is having a flashback about how the rivalry between Shin and Kenshiro started. This part of the movie is almost identical to the manga, plus they add some other stuff for the movie's plot. Julia and Kenshiro are lovers when the war between North Star and Southern Cross separates the two. Shin kidnaps Julia, imprisoning her to be his lover. Kenshiro fights Shin, and Shin mortally wounds Kenshiro, leaving the 7 scars on his chest. Not only that, but Shin kicks Kenshiro in the nuts.
Something tells me that's not exactly where you would find one of these 708 channeling points, but it's effective nonetheless.
They added a fight scene between Kenshiro and Jackal, and that ends with Kenshiro using the head-exploding attack on him, but Jackal's men are able to bandage his head together and keep it intact, but if the bandages come off, boom! Also, they took out the fact that Julia tries to kill herself after this event, but hey, this is the only part of the movie that they get right, so let's not dwell on it. Kenshiro and Bat go into the city using the underground passage found by Bat. It looks like he was somewhat useful after all. At the same time, Lin is being yelled at by a dude named Goliath.
Oh good, a real fight.
Your last.
I've been putting this off as long as I can, but I can't ignore it anymore. The acting in this movie ranges between okay to bad. And when it's bad, good lordy is it bad.
Seriously, the guy they got to play Kenshiro in this movie cannot deliver any type of line outside of a dull monotone.
I'll get Lin. I need you to stay here.
Most of the other actors are goofy and corny, but I will say that the guy they got to play Jackal, Chris Penn, is arguably the best actor in the movie, because he does come off as somewhat frightening.
And as for you, you little bitch, the only singing I want to hear from you is the whereabouts of your friend Kenshiro.
Anyhow, getting back to the movie, Kenshiro kills Goliath and the other Crossmen in a battle that lasts a bit too long for me. This lets Lin look for Bat on her own. While searching for Bat, Lin runs into Jackal, but before any harm is done to her, Bat jumps in to save the day.
Such suckers.
Look out, he's got a knife!
Kids are such suckers.
Yep, most useless character ever. But at least the movie has the balls to kill the whiniest character in the movie.
Through some insanely shitty special effects, Kenshiro's father speaks through Lin to tell Kenshiro that he shouldn't kill for revenge, and that he needs to kill Shin in order to restore the balance and all of that jazz. Also, say goodbye to Lin and the other characters, cause this is the last time you'll ever see them in this movie. Kenshiro rides to Shin's palace to start kicking some ass.
I'm gonna kick
While that's going on, Shin orders Jackal to protect Julia, but Julia wants to have a chase scene instead, which ends with Julia ripping off his headband and causing his head to explode. Kenshiro meets up with Shin and their final fight to the death begins. Kenshiro wins, and of course Shin's death is very different from what it was in the anime. So our movie ends with Kenshiro meeting Julia, and as they embrace each other, Shin's army bows before the two.
So that's Fist of the North Star, but before we go ahead and see how it stands, let's take a look and see how many heads exploded inside this movie. Two? One of them was off screen, and the other one, we only got to see the head expand. It didn't actually explode. You lied to me, R rating. You said that there would be continuous brutal and gory violence in this movie, and all we got was really half-assed fight scenes with a lot of red corn syrup.
Talk about a disappointment. Fist of the North Star is one of the few series I think could still be made into a decent adaptation movie, but sadly this is far from it. The casting is horrible. Some of the decisions made about how the characters should act is straight up awful. The music is almost missing throughout a good chunk of the movie, and to top it all off, the fight scenes are generic and feel nothing like the fighting style that was used in the anime or manga. Now, I will go out on a limb and say that there are a few moments here and there where it does seem like some research was put into the screenplay, which is more than I can say about a lot of other adaptation movies done in America. And the cinematography at times is fantastic, but those two things aren't enough to save this movie.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to start finishing my packing before the landlady throws me out. So this is CJ Hitchcock, signing out.
Jamma するやつは指先一つで